Virginia Tech shirt? Check. Glasses with glare? Check. Hair, hot mess express? Check. More hokey stuff? Check. It's been a month, but nothing has changed. Hello there, everybody. How's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on Flosstube, and I am back. Yep, it's been a hot minute since I last did any sort of a video, movie, or what have you. It's been a while, but I'm here today. Woohoo! Speaking of which, today is Thursday, August 31st, 2017. So it is officially 1 month since I last filmed. Some of you are probably still watching that video that I published a month ago, and that would have been my whip parade. So before I get going on anything, thank you all so much for the outpouring of support for my whip parade. Over the years, my channel has been criticized because my videos are kind of long, and earlier this year I just kind of made the decision that it doesn't bother me. But publishing a video that is very close to 3 hours long, I had some reservations about it. I was concerned. I was like, nobody's gonna watch this thing. Everybody's gonna hate it. I'm gonna have 1,000 dislikes. And yes, I realized I could have disabled that, but I've chosen not to do that. And what I've found is that that is my second most watched video ever. That's insane to me. I mean, I know that a lot of you had to watch it in several sittings, and so that probably attributes to that number of views creeping up. But I was blown away. I can't even fathom it. So that video has over 4,000 views. The only other video that also has over 4,000 views is my very first video from way back in the day. But I was like, this is so cool. Like, it felt like validation. Like, you guys know me. You know that I am long-winded, and I've got a bajillion whips. More on that later. But it was heartwarming, and it was fantastic to see that you guys enjoyed that, and some of you watched it more than once. It was exhausting. I'm not gonna lie, it was an exhausting video to film, as to be expected. And editing took forever, and I missed so many things. I went back and watched it, and I'm like, Jess, you missed this and that and that. Anyway, not a big deal. So thank you guys so much for watching that and for enjoying it. Are we going to do this yearly? Like, is this going to be an annual thing for Flosstube? Because I think it totally should be. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Not only filming and editing and publishing my own and then going back and watching it, but everybody else's. It's just been a lot of fun just to see everything that everybody's got. I love it. And I love that the up-and-coming Flosstubers are using that as a catalyst to get them going. Like, this is my starting point. That's so cool. Who started this? Who did this? Because you're wonderful. Anyway, so moving on from that, let's talk about a few other things. Let's talk about the fact that in the month that I was gone, I had my 4-year Flosstube anniversary. What even is that? 4 years? That's crazy. It's crazy to me. 4 years. Not only that, but I also crested over 3,000 subscribers. And that is mind-blowing. Truly mind-blowing. When that happened, I was like, wait a second. What? There are 3,000 of you? Amazing. Amazing. So thank you all so much for your support over the last 4 years. We are well overdue for a giveaway. That's not happening today. I still have to figure it out because this is 2 very momentous occasions. 4 years of filming and 3,000 people. 3,000 people. 3,000! What? Crazy. I can't believe there's 2 of you, let alone 15,000 or 1,500 times that much. It's crazy. Anyway, so the details for any such giveaway are forthcoming, but not today. So be on the lookout for that, I suppose. But very cool. Very cool. All right, so I'm looking around at the piles of stuff. Because of course I have piles of stuff. What I don't have are notes. And I am doing away with some things. You might call me the Queen of Give-Ups from here on out. So we have the Queen of Starts and the Stash Queen, and there's another queen. I am going to be the Queen of Give-Ups because I am giving up on several topics that I talk about in my Flosstube videos. And after my whip parade, I gave up on 5 projects. 5. I was like, not even interested. I don't even care about holding on to these for 10 minutes longer. And that was a huge weight off my shoulders to just give up, just done. I don't have to put effort into that anymore. I don't have to count that among my whips anymore. I don't have to look at it anymore. I'm done. So anyway, so topics that I'm giving up in my videos. I'm not doing the Currently Obsessed anymore. After watching that back a couple times, I thought it was kind of pretentious. And I don't want to come off as pretentious because that is not me. You guys don't need to know all of the things that I am interested in. That's whatever. We're here for cross-stitch. On that same vein, we're here for cross-stitch. I have decided to dial back on the books and knits. And so basically, I'm going to talk to you guys about books and knitting, but when I have something finished. So if I've finished reading a book, then I'll talk about it. If I have finished knitting a project, then I'll talk about it. If I cast on a new project, I may talk about that briefly, just show you yarns and whatnot, but I'm not going to go through this divided segments every week to say I knit 10 rows on this. Like, I'm just not going to do that anymore. Because this is supposed to be a cross-stitch focused channel, and so I'm trying to bring the focus back. What I am hoping that will do is one major thing, and that is shorten my videos a bit. I don't have time anymore to be editing a 3-hour video or even a 2-hour video. I put up this whip parade and it was like, oh my gosh, it's almost 3 hours. Well, I put up 2, I think I have 3 almost 2-hour videos. So like, this is not, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't like that. Oh my God. So it's going to help me shorten my videos while bringing things back to focus, which might entice me to film more frequently, because that was another reason why I was gone for so long, because just the sheer amount of stuff that I have to show you was overwhelming, because it's a lot. It's going to take some time. Clean slate. We're going to focus on the cross stitch again, because ultimately that's kind of like the love of my life, hobby-wise. And yeah, so we'll go from there. So I have some projects that I've worked on. I have my plans for September. I have haul from the last month, so cut me some slack. I mean, my stitch from stash is whatever, but cut me some slack. I do have 2 books that I've read, and I have a finished knit. Let's stretch knit a bit. What I am not doing today is I'm not going to do the Q&A. And that is something that I'm going to carry forward, but I'm not doing it today because I didn't prepare any notes. I'm trying to get back to this more conversation style, this more fly by the seat of my pants, even though I'll still edit, but whatever. Just kind of chit-chatting. Feel free to have a coffee or sit and stitch and just, we'll just chat. This is low production Flosstube. Anyway. But I'm going to save the Q&A for next time because I didn't take the time to try to sort through and pull questions. I know that I have a few, and I will definitely get to them next time. So if you have questions that pop up, as always, please leave them in the description box below. I will be happy to answer them for you, either directly to you or on video or both, because sometimes I'm inclined to do so. We are going to start with a finish. And this is a finish that I actually had before my whip parade, but after my last update video. So I had talked to you guys about possibly pulling out this project for Christmas in July, because this was before the 25th of July. And so I was talking about possibly pulling it out. Well, I did, because I felt like getting a finish, kind of needed it for Stitch from Stash. You know how it goes. And so that project is the Hohoho series by Stony Creek, and you'll be seeing a preview here of what this looked like the last you saw it. So I had the Santa block and the reindeer block all finished, and now the snowman is done. So they are all finished up. Ho, ho, ho. And let's see here. My fabric is a 32 count white opalescent Belfast linen. I'll bring it in close so you might be able to see the sparkle in the fabric. It's really subtle, but it's just pretty. And so I had just the tiniest bit of the snowman done, but I finished him up it was pretty quick. It took more days than they normally do, or normally did, I guess, but yeah, it was good. It was good. And I absolutely love this. So I already have FFO plans, and I'm so excited to get them going. I just haven't done so yet. But, oh, so cute. I love the coal buttons for his mouth. Those were, you can kind of see there, they're 3D because they're buttons. So yeah, that is all done. Next, we're going to move into my works in progress, things that I have worked on since we last spoke. And the first of which is Ladybird Fairy by Joan Elliott. And I'm stitching this on 32 count Glacier by Picture This Plus. I didn't bring that project with me because you would have seen it in my whip parade. I'll insert the clip of that in here just so that you can see where it's at. I haven't worked on it since, so that's where I ended off. I did a ladybug, and that was the end. The rest of these are in no particular order. And we're just going to start off with the one that has consumed my time, which is, if you follow me on Instagram, Faces of Fairy by Jasmine Beckett Griffith and Heaven and Earth Designs. You guys will know that I'm not putting this down, and I haven't, and I'm not sure when I'm going to. So, preview here what this looked like the last you saw it, and this would have been in my update video before my whip parade. And what I'm going to show you, I'm not going to scroll to the top so that you can see that page that I was working on at the time, but I finished that page a long time ago. And so let me just bring this over here. She is still on my large millennium for the same reasons as before. And let me just take the threads down so that we can get the full effect of her. Isn't she looking good, y'all? I love her. So as you can tell, I'm working on page 5 here. Page 3 is the one that I was working on the last we spoke, I think. I really hope so. Pretty sure. And that's the page that I finished. So I have reached the far right. Yes, far right. And then I got to work, I want to say about 10 days ago on page 5. And I've just been working on that solely ever since. And I'm obsessed. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I mentioned it on Instagram. Part of it has to do with I'm loving getting these page finishes. Part of it probably has to do with the fact that Davina over at Mumula Stitches finished hers. Part of it probably has to do with the fact that I was sick and I didn't feel like switching. And part of it probably has to do with the fact that every time I sit down to stitch, I'm making something. That's so cool. Yesterday, I sat down to stitch and I stitched quite a little bit yesterday because I was feeling better yesterday. And I made a nose. Can you see her little button nose? Oh my goodness. And then I got into her lips. Her lips are very strange. She's got her lipstick painted on so that it's just down the center of her lips, and so the corners of her mouth are bare. But stitching it, I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is right. This doesn't look right. This shade should not be in here, but you can tell, like, it's totally fine. It all looks good. And I'm a huge fan. When I finished page 3 up here, but before I got started here, it looked like she was crying red thread. It was like, I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. I really liked the look of that. And somebody said, oh, that's too creepy. That's a little creepy. And I was like, don't think of it like she's crying blood. It's not like that. Do you see all this eye makeup? Of course her eyes are red. You don't paint on that much black without irritating your eyeballs somehow. That's really all it is. She was doing her makeup. She didn't know what she was doing. She did that thing that we all do, that anybody who has ever put on makeup does, and we stabbed ourselves in the eyeball with the eyeliner pencil. It's fine. It's fine. That's all this is. It's not violent. But it's like totally creepy. I love it. Anyway, so I am loving this. My fabric is a 25 count Lugana. Antique white. I'm stitching this just like I do all of my Hades, 1/1 full cross. I think I've got 1,500 stitches left of the page, something like that. So I'm probably going to do that, and then page 7 down here, because it's like a third of a page, so I could probably knock that out pretty quickly. My hopes of having this finished before Flosstube retreat, out the window. Unless this is all I work on and I quit my job and, all of those things. It's not going to happen that quickly. But that's okay, because I'm still going to finish her this year. And when I do, that means that 2017 I will have finished my original trifecta, which is Mira, Chatelaine, Heaven and Earth. All 3 in 1 year. So cool. Never mind that Chatelaine and Maribel, the 2 that I finished this year, were like 90%, but whatever. Them's small potatoes. So there's that. And needle minders, we've got from No Name Needle Minders, which is Kate, the Queen of Starts. Cameo from Gina's Unique Boutique. And this cute little purple flower from Carolina. So there's that. Not entirely sure on dates here because I didn't check on that beforehand, but at some point in August, I did work on my Elephants by Jane Netley Mayhew. And real quickly, that comes from this book, the Cross Stitch Safari book. And this is what the design will look like finished. And you'll be seeing a preview here of what this looked like last time. That would have been during my whip braid. And elephant minder. I believe from Gina's Unique Boutique. I believe that's one of my originals. And here is where I'm at now. I'm so pleased with this. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I'm in love with this. I reached my year-end goal, my modified year-end goal with this by finishing Nikki. And Nikki is this one here. As I've said 1,000 times, but just in case you're new, I named this elephant here Nicki Minaj because she's got a big butt. Tracy P named the baby elephant Celeste. And the dad elephant that is not in here yet, his name is Tony, but most commonly referred to as Big Tone because he's from New York and he's in a big hurry. He ain't got time for you. Anyway, then enough of that. So yeah, Nikki is all done and I'm overwhelmed. I love her so much. Her kneecap here. What even? How did J. Netley Mayhew manage to get so much depth into that? And I mean, there are 8 colors, maybe, entirely. That's crazy. And no backstitch. I did backstitch Celeste's eye because I didn't love the way that looked. And I'm using Anchor Black for this because Anchor Black, it's just a deeper black. Much better coverage. And so the empty spaces down here are the grasses that are coming up, and I didn't count that in my year-end goal. And I felt pretty good with the progress that I made. So I didn't feel the need to continue on further. Oh, I love this. I was flipping through the book trying to decide if there was anything else from this book that I really needed to stitch. And if I'm totally honest, I don't think so. I don't think so. I got a shout out from Drew at Weasley Studios, and he talked about this particular project, so I'm going to send him this book when I'm done, so that he can stitch the elephants or do with what he pleases, because elephant love should be shared. So there's that. Okay, next. Totally not in order whatsoever, but whatever. I have vague recollections of when things happened. Anyway, so at some point, I felt the urge to pull out my birthstone dragons. And preview here of what this looked like the last time you saw it. Again, it's from my Whip Parade. This fabric is a 32 count Belfast in Sparkling Diamonds by Crafty Kitten Fabrics. And I was part the way through. I had just backstitch to do on the Emerald Dragon for May, and I was barely into the June Dragon Pearl, or Alexandrite if you chose. And so here we are now with both of them complete. So let me fold this up and do like I do so that I can bring them in close. So there they are, with their gems attached and all. This one, he is standing on a gem that I used one strand of blending filament by Gliss and Gloss. Gliss and Gloss blending filament with 2 strands of DMC, so it got a little bit of shimmer to it. And then his emerald gemstone is dangling from a necklace. And you will notice that his necklace and his eye are purple. And Amina, her eye is green and the chain is green. So that plays into their character story, which, so have you guys ever heard of twin dragons? In other words, 2 dragons born out of the same egg. It's very rare, but it happens. But Amina took up the majority of the egg. And poor little Emmy here never grew to his full size because Amina was hogging the egg. but they are twins. And their similar features can be seen in the spines along the back of their neck, as well as their surly expressions. But Emmy here is actually, he is not at all bothered by his size, because his size has allowed him to be the most excellent jewel thief that anybody has ever known. And that's why he's got 2. Because he's just that good. He's small, and he can sneak into small spaces and steal gems. It's fantastic. So, that's me. June doesn't have a backstory yet. Yeah, she doesn't have a backstory yet. I did change her a little bit because it was charted so that, obviously so that they were holding a gemstone as stitched. And so I removed the gemstone and then kind of filled in so it looks like her hand is kind of coming up underneath it, just to fill that in a little bit. But it works out pretty nicely. The placement of that pearl gemstone was pretty good. So there's that. And we're going to get September, so I am once again 3 behind. But that's okay. I'll catch up at some point. So I absolutely love that. I don't know if I mentioned Birthstone Dragon Cell by Ingleside Imaginarium. You can purchase the design on Etsy. It is a mystery cell, so we're not sure what the next ones are going to look like. And the designer behind Ingleside Imaginarium is Brittany, formerly Blammy Cat Stitches here on YouTube, but she's changed her channel to Brittany at Ingleside Imaginarium. And I think she's still Blammy Cat on Instagram. I think so. But so, yeah, loving that. Need to get back to it to work on those missing 3, July, August, and then we get September at midnight tonight. Okay. Next, this is a project that I thought I was going to try to finish in the month of August. Ooh, no. I'm going to need some more time on this one. Yeah, there's still quite a bit of work left to do. I grossly underestimated what was left. Anyway, so this is Elizabeth by Glendon Place. Needle minder here from Juliet Nifty Needle Nannies. You guys know why. And you'll be seeing a preview here of what this looked like during my whip parade. This is being stitched on a 32 count Belfast in Buttercup by Under the Sea Fabrics in this gorgeous yellow. And I made some really good progress for just a few days stitching. So here we have it. So what you see here is the majority, actually no, this entire big leaf is done. Krennic and all. Or Krennic. I can't say Krennic. Heads up, y'all, I'm going to say that wrong for the rest of my days. It's Krennic in my head. That's what it's always going to be. So yeah, I got the Krennics in. I ordered those in, and this thing is blingy. Like, can you see all that sparkle? Yeah, sparkly. And there are 2 colors of Krennic there. It's outlined in chartreuse, which is one of my favorite Krennics. And then the veins of the leaves is in topaz, which is not as much fun to work with, but that's okay. Let's start talking about my plans for the month of September, because tomorrow is September. And September for me can be defined in one way: Virginia Tech football. So our home football season is 6 games. We have 6 games taking place at home. And then we have 2 either away or neutral field games that we're attending. Half of our home season is in September. 3 home games in September. Craziness, right? And then one of our neutral field games or away games, whichever you want to classify it as, is this coming weekend on Sunday. On Sunday, we are playing West Virginia University for the first time in 10 years. I think I mentioned this. We've been on this big old ban because there's a history of couch burning on each other's campuses. It's fine. So we're going to go play at FedEx in Maryland on Sunday night. Very exciting. But so there's a lot of football happening. We also have Delaware, we have Old Dominion, and Clemson. Because, of course, we would play Clemson this year. Of course we would play Clemson this year. Yeah. And then we also have East Carolina, but that's an away game. So the long and short of it is that my weekends are minimal. I have one weekend where we're going to be home in the entire month of September. So I put together these grand plans of all of the stitching I was going to get done in September before we head to Austin. And then I was like, okay, Jess, think about this. Think about all of the days that you're not going to stitch because you'll be at football. Okay, so let's kind of talk through this. I picked, let me see, 5 projects. I'm going to work on 5 projects in the month of September. Faces of Fairy 201, that is a given, because that baby needs to get finished ASAP. And my goal for this month is to finish page 5, and then to finish page 7. And page 7 is, like I said, it's only a 3rd page, so I could probably do that in a few days. I would like to start page 6, but that's not mandatory. Okay, so we have that. Next, on, let's see, early next week, Stitch and Mommy, Sarah, is having a birthday sale. And she is working on her chatelaine. And forgive me, Sarah, I can't remember which one it is. It's a band sampler style. It's not the traditional mandalas. But anyway, so I was like, well, I'm going to jump in. I don't have a Chatelaine Year of Whips project anymore, but I don't care. I can play along. So I'm going to work on my Autumn Fairy. And where is my needle minder attached here? There it is. Okay, so preview here what this will look like finished. This is one of the things I forgot in my whip parade. Sorry, y'all. And I am stitching this on a 32 count Belfast in Mellow by Picture This Plus. And that's where I'm at. Gigantic Fairy Needle Minder from Gina's Unique Boutique. So I have most of the top done, believe it or not. Still have a little bit of work to do on the sides, and I still have some to fill in here, but not a whole lot. So I'm probably going to work on this next week after the West Virginia game. Yeah, so that's where I'm going with that. Okay, next I have my project that I am working on for the Stitch Mania month-long sale. And this month it's back to school, so things with alphabets or somehow related to school. And so I'll be working on Opus 2, aka Maggie, by Long Dog Samplers. And love this. I have been aching to get back to this. I've been needing some Quaker style stitching in my life. And I'm going to be working primarily on the alphabet up here. Agate Slice Needle Minder from Juliet Nifty Needle Ladies. And this is on a 28 count Cashel in Antique White by Zweigart. And I worked on this not too long ago. I'm stitching it using DMC 924. Did I say DMC? I think I said DM. Anyway, DMC 924. And so I have PRSTUV done. The Q was omitted on purpose. From my understanding, certain letters are not involved in this alphabet. Let's see, the Q, the J, okay, so the J and the Q are both not in this alphabet, and I've been asked several times, is that a typo? It is not. From my understanding, those 2 letters are not, I don't know if they weren't commonly used or if they weren't used at all in writings of the time. I'm not entirely sure. There's something in my memory, and it's very vague, and it's way in the back, buried underneath all sorts of useless knowledge. But there's something about the J and the Q, and I believe there's another letter, that weren't a part of the alphabet until later. The reason that that goes to war in my mind is that John is a very old name. So perhaps it was spelled differently? If anybody knows and would like to school me, I'm gonna look it up, like Quaker alphabets and why certain letters aren't involved. But if anybody knows, let me know. Okay, so anyway, it's not a typo. The long and short of it is that is not a typo on the pattern, and I will work on that alphabet. I hope to get the alphabet finished when I work on this, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Still have to finish the A, because that leg of the A is missing some stuff. So excited to work on this. Okay, and then I also have, I have been craving Mirabilia. I don't remember the last time I worked on Mira. It must have been Mania. Yeah, I am like itching to work on some Mira. And the only thing that I have in my Year of Whips, even remotely Mira, is Electra by Nora Corbett and Pumpkin Spice Clay Needle Minder from Nifty Needle Nannies. So this is Electra, and I'm stitching her on the called for linen by Witchelt in milk chocolate. It's a 32 count linen. Stiff as a board. Ooh, see-through. Forgot about that. Okay. There we go, that's better. So that is where I am starting off, and I'm using Anchor Black for this. I didn't do that for Gigi, but that's okay. And so I'm going to work on this and hope that that tides me over for a little while on my Mira obsession, because I'm in the mood, you know. I had my Mad Mira March and Mad Mira Mania, so I'm like, it's time for some more Mira. I've done it every 2 or 3 months or so this year, so it needs to be happening. Anyway, so there's that. And as I've talked about a few times, her wing is charted in green. I'm not doing that. I'm either skipping it entirely, which I might do. I might actually do that. Or I have it converted to a maroon wing, because that's my thing. Okay, last project that I have planned to work on is, it is for the Full Coverage Fanatics group on Facebook. And this was a group that was put together by Ann P. And Ann with an E. And it is all about full coverage designs. And she has set up the most amazing array of challenges and themed SALs for 2018. And the original plan was that we weren't going to have anything up until that point. However, she did open up one SAL from September 21st through the end of the year, and it's just like new starts. So like start things. It's like a dedicated start things SAL, and I believe that the reason that she did that is because she's participating in Year of Whips next year, and one of the stipulations for Year of Whips this coming year is that the projects need to have been started prior to Year of Whips. The progress won't count, but they need to have been started before that happens. So she put together this this new starts, September starts SAL, so that people, if they are participating in Year of Whips, can get those things going. They don't have to wait till their respective SALs next year. So, what am I starting? Well, originally I was going to let I believe it was Terry and Dawn choose because their birthdays land on or very close to September 21st. However, there is one Haid that I need to start, and I needed to start it 2 months ago. And that is Bridge Where She Waits by Stephanie Pullman-Law. As you guys know, Matt, who is Trucking Stitcher on Instagram, he so very generously gifted me that pattern, and then a boatload of fabric to make that happen. So I'm gonna make that happen. That's gonna be my September start. This project is going to feature a lot next year. I picked it for several sales, in particular for this full coverage fanatics group. So that's that. And so I'm gonna get going on that. Let's switch over to haul here. Lots of stuff in here. Okay, so we're just going to start from the top and work our way down. Keep in mind, this was a month, and I didn't buy it all. Okay. So put your judging caps away. Okay, so first things first, we're going to talk about needle minders. I purchased some needle minders from Julie at Nifty Needle Nannies. They have all been placed on projects, so I'm going to insert a picture here of those needle minders because they're kind of scattered all over the place. And I also got one from Down Sunshine Lane. More about that later. Yeah. So yeah, I've got some needle minders. And then, just recently, I got a couple more in the mail. And I'm a little bit concerned about this guy, but it'll be okay. So these are from Gina's Unique Boutique, and this is from her fall Halloween sale. Y'all, I was doing so good. I saw the pictures roll in, and I was like, I don't need any needle minders. I don't need any. And then, pumpkin spice. How basic white chick am I, honestly? But, so I caved, and I was like, well, it needs a traveling buddy. So, sparkly diamond spider it is. Because I hate spiders in real life, but I really like these jeweled ones. So, there's that. Couple more needle minders to the collection that totally doesn't need any more enhancing, but whatever. Okay, this is a project that I stumbled upon totally by accident. At some point I think I was looking for a specific kit from Dimensions that I can't find currently, and I'm not actively searching for it, so it's okay. But it's Cove Haven Inn. And I was scrolling through 123 Stitch one day, and this popped up, and I went, oh, I want that. And then I was like, no, what I want is Cove Haven Inn. Let me not order that right now. And whatever, I'll just put that aside. Put that idea aside. I added it to my wish list. Well, wouldn't you know it, like 3 days later, literally, I'm not joking, 3 days later, this item is no longer available. Please remove it from your wish list. Or we're sorry, you know, that notification. I'm like, well, what is that? So I was like, okay, well, maybe 123 Stitch is just out of stock on it, and it's going to come back here any day now. So I waited, and I waited, and it never came back. And not only that, but the total, like the listing, gone. Can't find it on 123 Stitch anymore. So I started looking in other places, and I couldn't really find it. So it's my belief that it's gone out of print, or it's gone out of production, or something. So I found it on Amazon. And it was pretty reasonable, to be totally honest. It wasn't out of print pricing at the start. And even now today, it's not at out of print pricing. So I don't know what's going on. But I have watched the price tick up and up and up. So it started at like $15, and I think I paid $20. And so I finally just, one day I bit the bullet, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get it. Because if I don't, then the price is going to skyrocket. And I'm going to miss my opportunity, and I'm not going to pay outrageous out-of-print pricing for this. I love it, and I can't wait to stitch it, but yeah, not feeling that. So all this pomp and circumstance to say, crinkle. Wise Owl by Dimensions. Now, here's some irony for you. Plastic is ripped, whatever. So I ordered this thing. I finally caved, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it now. It arrived in my mailbox. Went to go pick it up from my mailbox. I was like, all giddy. You know, doing that new stash dance. And I get on Instagram shortly thereafter, and Wayward Stitcher was trying to get rid of it. She just didn't want it in her life anymore because it has some sad associated memories, and so she was just trying to get rid of it the day that mine arrived. I felt so bad. I almost bought it from her just to get it off her hands, but I couldn't do that. And it seems like somebody snatched it up, so that's fine, but I just felt really bad. I'm like, I just bought this from Amazon. Anyway, so there it is, and this is the full kit. I ripped it open just to check and make sure that everything was copacetic with it. It was a new unopened kit. Holy floss, Batman. It comes with 14 count Ada, which you guys know I won't be using. 2 thread cards in these gorgeous colors. It's just wintry, and elephants are my animal. They're my spirit animal. Something about that slow, pensive way of life. I don't know. But I also love owls, and I have an aunt who loves owls a whole lot, and I have wanted to stitch something with an owl for her, so I might do this for her. Look at more black and gray. Fun stuff. So there's that. And so I went and got some 28 count antique white linen to replace the 14 count Ada, because that is my way. Okay, I'm gonna move that gigantic plastic aside so we don't have that crinkle. Everything in here has a story. It's fantastic. Okay, up next. Okay, so let's rewind back about 2 years. 2 years ago, we're thinking like August 2015. Probably before August. At some point in 2015, Letitia of the Crafty Curator and I talked about Mirabilias, because 2015 was the start of the YouTube Mirabilia Sow that was started by Amanda of Mrs. Milky Bar Kid fame. And then everybody on YouTube just kind of joined in. And so Letitia and I had this conversation about how she thought she might do Persephone, but then she decided to go with this other one. And I was thinking the exact same thing, only flipped in reverse. I was going to do this one thing, but I decided to go with Persephone instead. And then we made this pseudo, totally no pressure. I don't even know if Letitia's going to remember this. But we made this pseudo pact that if we both finished our Miras within 2015, we would get to kit up and start the other one. So I finished my Persephone this year, finally. Letitia finished hers back in 2015, and I'm still waiting to see her Persephone. Anyway, so I finally got at the Met. Now, why did this take so long? Well, part of the reason is, I don't know. And the other part of the reason is that I was going to order it from 123 Stitch, and 123 Stitch didn't have it in stock forever. For a long time, they didn't have this. This is at the Met. I don't know if I said that. And so I ordered it from Down Sunshine Lane because that's what you do. If you can't find it on 123 Stitch, you check Down Sunshine Lane, because inevitably it will be in your hands faster than Amazon could get it to you. So yeah, got that, got at the Met. But traveling buddies conversation. In one of my recent videos, and by recent I mean like a month ago, I talked about the Drawn Thread Welcome Winter. And I was like, I think they're doing all these seasons, and I'm talking like I know things, and I'm like, but don't quote me. And then I felt like a big dumb stupid head because I know somebody who's working on the autumn one. Ann P is her channel. Of course, it's linked below. She's been working on the autumn welcome. And I don't know. Anyway, so I got it. Because of course I got it. Because there's a pumpkin and ravens and it's autumn. Let's see. This calls for all dinky dice. No NPIs in this one. So beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah. So that was my traveling buddy for At the Met. Big dumb stupid head. Me. Okay. This next one could make me cry. I'm going to try not to because I'm going to try not to. So I did not ask this person permission to mention their name, and so I won't. But I was contacted by a very dear friend who lives way too far away, as far as I'm concerned. And she said, "May I have your address, please?" And I said, "What did you do?" But I gave her my address. I got this package in the mail, and I couldn't go get it the day that it arrived, but I went and got it the next morning, and she was like, "Did you get it?" And so I opened it and gobsmacked. So this has more of a story to it, and I won't go into it much further than that. But what was sent was the Pheromone by Maribel. I love this design, and here's why I love this design. Does this not scream lavender and lace to you guys? Every time that I've seen this stitched, I thought that it was lavender and lace. It didn't occur to me that this was Maribel. So this to me is like, this is like a blend between Nora and Marilyn's styles. And that's just so cool to me. Just to see kind of them both represented in here. And I don't know if that was intentional, and you know, there's no history with it or anything that's, as far as I know, widely known. But I love that. It's like, I don't know, it's like the two of them in one design. This is an out-of-print chart. It is from 1993. And it's got the, like, old-timey Mirabilia writing, for comparison's sake. This uses more of a sans serif or serif design font style. Anyway, I opened this package and but this is not all. This is not all. Okay, so this is all of the beads, and there's a bunch of beads in here, including these gorgeous mint ones, which you guys know I'm all mint obsessed, and the one krennic that's called for, which is 002. This is an old krennic because it still says Balger on it. That's cool. Anyway, so there's that. And then, because we're not stopping there, oh, I'm so glad that you guys can see that. Pheromone is not a small design. On the called for 28 count linen, she's 18 by 19, so she's almost square. She's very wide. I don't know which is the width. I'm assuming that, yeah, I believe she's wider than she is tall. So this is a fat half of this most gorgeous fabric. It's so purple in life and on the camera. It's just like that eggplant yarn. It looks very dark gray with some like essence of purple is what I would call it. It's essence of purple. This is Cashel, 28 count Cashel in shadow by Picture This Plus. Do you guys see how gorgeous this is? How gorgeous is she gonna look on this? Oh my goodness. So this is my dreamer. I was gonna start her on World Cross Stitch Day for so many reasons, but I never got my act together to start her then. She might be a New Year, New Start. She might be a new start because I feel like it. This needs to be in my wet pile, and this will grace my wet pile for a long time. But I am head over heels. She is so gorgeous. And she's going to be framed right next to my Stargazer. And I don't know which wall because I don't know if we're going to be in this house, but they're going to be together. And yeah, because that's just unreal. So you who is unnamed, because I meant to ask you if I could say your name and I forgot, you are amazing. And much love. Stitchers are the greatest people, are they not? Seriously, the greatest people. Okay. All right. Next, let's talk about some fabric of the month. Less stories involved. This is Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. This is the July fabric of the month. It is called Moana. My subscription is a 32 count Belfast. And the pinks aren't showing to you guys. Maybe the pinks are richer on the other side. Nope. There's like some corally pinks mixed in with the gorgeous pops of tealy blue. It's a gorgeous fabric. But not quite showing as accurately as I'd like. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So there's that. Next we have the July fabric of the month from Under the Sea Fabrics. This is Love Child by Leslie and Tracy. And I kind of love that this one too has dual personality. You see, this one is mostly pink with the shot of gray there, and this one is a lot more gray. Gorgeousness. No clue what's going on that. That pink is pink. It's like bubblegum pink. But we'll see. We'll figure something out. No doubt. Next, I needed a flying buddy when I ordered the Krenix for Elizabeth, so 32 count cream Belfast linen because my Hobby Lobby is clearing out their cross-stitch stuff, which sucks because then I don't have as easy access, but not terrible because that means I don't give them any more money. So there's that. Okay, next has a little bit of story to it as well. A dear friend of mine, Carolina, Crafts Makeup Food is her channel name. She mentioned a Heaven on Earth design that she fell head over heels in love with. Both she and her husband both either have met this artist or they saw his work somewhere. And the details are fading from memory. So when Heaven on Earth Designs charted a particular artwork called Old Friends at Play, Carolina was like, snatch that up. But she was kind of faced with this with this issue of fabric, because it is a very large design, and so she would need like a 3/4 yard. More than a fat half, but less than a full yard. And so she wasn't feeling like spending the cash to get a full yard, especially since she wasn't planning on starting it anytime soon. So in the meantime, Heaven and Earth Designs had a sale, and they had a pretty good sale. They had a sale on not only their charts, but also their fabrics. And so I pitched the idea to Carolina. I was like, well, do you want to split a yard? I will send you, I can't remember what the dimensions were, but enough so that she could do her old friends at play. And then I'll keep the remnants. And then that way, you're not paying full price for a yard, and neither am I. But we both get the benefit of it. And so she was down with that. And so we split the cost of a yard, but I sent her like 3/4 of it. I didn't mind doing that because, yeah, I just didn't mind doing that. So I got my piece. We ended up signing up for the custom cut by Heaven and Earth, so they cut the 2 pieces for us so that all of it was serged. And so my piece is 18 by 36. So it's really long, but not very wide. And this worked out really perfect for me because Matt sent me that beautiful gift of the full yard of Easy Count. And ever since then, I've been trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with it. And what this piece of fabric has done is it has allowed me to put bridge where she waits on this. And then I can use that full yard for 3 other very large projects. Very large. Not super size, but you know, I had talked to you guys about maybe starting supersized Furry Cities, because when am I going to have the opportunity to do that? But ultimately, my decision swayed away from that, and I'm going to try to get as many projects out of that fabric as I can, and so I was able to get 3 big ones. But the only way that I could do that is if I took bridge and took it off. And so this not only will give me bridge where she waits, because bridge is not very wide. I believe it's 14 inches wide on 25 count. I also will get to restart Mini Curl Up with a good book on this. So I'm like really stoked. So got that, and I'm really excited about it. And then as far as the full yard, what am I doing with that? I'm sure you guys are wondering. So I am going to do Laia by Melanie Dellen, because I have loved Laia since I saw her artwork. And then I am also going to put Siren's Lament by Selena Finnick on there. Adele from Adele Cat Stitches kind of challenged me to start that finally and then to pass her. Challenge accepted. Just kidding. I have no idea when I'm starting it. So, yeah. But I wanted to make sure that I got that fabric or that project on there. And then that left me with a really odd cut, if I'm totally honest. But there is a design by Randall Spangler that has been on my eye for a while. And it is Snow Castle. It is very long and not very wide. It's a very tall design, and you'll be seeing a preview here of what it looks like. And so that's what I'm going to do with that. And that uses all but, I think, like a 2-inch strip of that yard. Because Laia is very big, and Snow Castle is very long. And Siren's Lament is also a big project, but not unusual proportions. So a yard and a quarter of fabric, and I get 5 heids out of it. That's pretty awesome. I will take that. So I've got that to start bridge, and then I'm starting Snow Castle in December for the winter quarterly challenge in full coverage fanatics, and we'll go from there. So what else? There was something else. Oh, I have some digital projects that I have acquired, some digital charts. The first two are Heaven and Earth Designs, one of which is Snow Castle, like you just saw, by Randall Spangler. I wanted to make sure I had that chart so that I can get working on kitting it up. So beautiful. Can't wait. And then the other is one that I special requested. I have never felt the attraction to using the special request on Hade's website before. And then I found this design purely by accident. And by accident, I mean like I was browsing through Hade. But, so I found this design and it only calls for like 50 colors. And I thought that was strange. And I didn't like the color palette. You look at the mock-up and I'm like, it's too blue. It's supposed to be more purple. And it is called Coffee Time by Aura Moon. And so I special requested a color expansion. I didn't want max colors. I didn't want 250 colors. I thought that's a little too much for me. But I wanted somewhere closer to what a standard Hade would go for now. And I said, you know, upwards of like around 100, give or take however it works. And so the new one has like 94 colors, but it's more purple, which is ideal for me. And it's this super cute, fantastical design. It's a fairy and it looks like a little goblin-y thing sitting down and having a cup of coffee together. It's very, very pretty. Preview here of what it looks like. So that is now in my stash. And then the last two are two designs, and I do not remember the name of the designer, but they are on Etsy. One Friday night, you know how these stories go, or maybe it was a Thursday. I don't know. I fell in love. You forget the day. Anyway, Letitia sent me a message and she was like, Jess, they have a bulldog. And I was like, where's my credit card? And it's this beautiful black and white mandala design of a bulldog. And so preview here what this looks like. And not only that, but they also had an elephant. They have several elephants. I only got one, but preview of what that looks like. These are gorgeous. Just absolutely gorgeous. They're black and white, and but like with varying shades, so ranging from black to white. Absolutely gorgeous. So Letitia, like, bait, line, sinker, yeah. I don't even know if that was the right term, but like I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. There's a bulldog with a spot on his head just like my goofball of a fuzzbutt. So anyway, so I think that is everything that I have acquired. And if I've forgotten anything, then I'll show it next time. I do have something on the way for a planned new start in, I think, October. I think I'm going to start it in October. I have one new start already planned for October because it's Dark October stitching. But we'll see what happens with the second one. So more on that later. Okay, let's switch gears and let's talk about the other things that I do. And so as far as knitting is concerned, I have a finish. It's not really a finish, but it's a finish. And that is my feathered hat. Now, the reason that it's a quote-unquote finish is that you've already seen this if you've watched my channel for any length of time, but it's got a pom-pom now. So, yeah, so it's all done and the pom-pom is attached. I got a pom-pom maker by Clover, and after several failed attempts, I finally got a pom-pom out of it, and I'm pretty pleased. I don't love how it's attached. I'm a little concerned about it, so this one is definitely going to stay with me because I don't trust anybody else to be as gentle with it as they need to be. But this was, I don't remember the designer's name, but it was knit out of Cascade 220 Superwash in mint, which I used for the brim and the pom-pom. And then the body is in Mrs. Crosby steamer trunk. I hope that's the base. In the Sweet Race colorway, which is an exclusive to Eat Sleep Knit, at least for now. And it's exclusive to reaching the 10K level on Eat Sleep Knit. So there's that. Okay, so there it is. You can see that. And it fits pretty good. It fits pretty snug. Pom-pom up there. I like it. But it's not cool enough for that yet. I have 2 shawls that are inching towards a finish, and so once they're done, I'll show them to you, but other than that, that's pretty much it for knitting for a little while. Okay, so let's switch over to books, and I have 2 books that I've finished reading. I listened to 2 audiobooks in the recent month, and I'm trying to pick up reading again. So I have books in all places. I have a physical book that I read while working, like on my lunch break, or I do take a few 5-10 minute breaks every now and again, just to cool my jets for a second. I have a Kindle. I have a book on my Kindle, either on my iPad or actually on my Kindle, that I am reading when and if I want to. Actually, I'm going to talk about that for a second. The book that I'm reading on my Kindle came very highly recommended by Danielle Stitcherista, and then also by Bendy Stitchy Michelle Garrett. And so finally I took the plunge and I got this book, and I was like, all right, let's see what everybody's raving about. And the beginning, I'm only about, I want to say, 5% in. I'm barely into it. But I am getting such a girl on the train vibe that it's like why? So my question, it is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. My question is, for those who have read both, The Girl on the Train and Behind Her Eyes, is this similarity going to disappear? Because I loved The Girl on the Train. Loved that book. It's an audiobook that I will forever listen to because it's just good. It's one of those books where now you know the ending, so you can't unknow the ending. But it doesn't matter because I like the story that's told, and I like the way that it's told, and I like distrustful characters. And what I'm finding with Behind Her Eyes is that I don't trust any of the characters, and the relationship situation is very similar. So what I need to know, don't spoil anything for me, but Michelle, Bendy Stitchy, or Danielle, or anybody else, if you've read both, do they scream the same thing? If they do, then I'm going to stop. I'm just not going to finish it because I've got plenty of other things I can be reading. I don't need to read something that I've already read that I fell in love with before. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so there's that. And then, so I've got my physical book for work time or what have you. I have my Kindle book when I feel like reading it. And I have an audiobook for stitching. And so these 2 books that I'm about to talk to you about, I listened to the audiobook for. Okay, so the one that I read the longest ago, shall we say, is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. And the reason that I read this kind of stems from a couple of things. Several months ago, maybe a year ago, Audible had a sale, like a buy 2, get 1 free, or a use 1 credit, get 3 books, or something like that. And so I bought a book from Octavia Butler called Pattern Master, I believe. That's what it's called. Octavia Butler has always been on my mind because she She's a Black science fiction writer. And as you guys know, I've wanted to read more diversely here in 2017, so she's been on my mind. So I ordered this book. I was like, sweet, I can get it for like $4.99, and that's awesome. Audiobooks for cheap, I'll take it. Well, it's like the third book in a series. And so I haven't read that. I still have it. I haven't gotten rid of it or anything. Audible has a really great return policy. I'm just planning on reading it, but I have 2 books to get through first. So in the interim, since then, I've done some more research into Octavia Butler. And not only is she an African-American science fiction writer, female, she was the first African-American female science fiction writer. Holy cannoli, Batman. So I was like, well, I need to go back to the beginning of her body of work, and I need to just start there and go from there. Sorry. Kindred was written in 1976. 76 is when the first African-American female science fiction writer was published. Unreal. Sometimes. Anyway, so I listened to this book, Kindred, and it was so much fun to listen to. And the subject matter is not so much fun, but it was fun to listen to because it was written in the 70s. And here I am, 40 years later, listening to this book, and there was a point where the main characters needed to do some research, and I was like, well, just jump on 76, you're not jumping on your computer to do that. You have to look through the encyclopedia. I was like, don't you have that information on your smartphone? No, you don't. How about a printer for your computer? No, you don't. Wild. So the premise for Kindred is this. We have 2 characters. We have Dana and her husband. I don't remember her husband's name. Okay, so Dana and her husband. Dana is a Black woman. Her husband is a white man. Married together in the 70s. They are moving into their own place. They're moving into a house. They're both authors. Moving into a house, and Dana experiences this very strange event where all of a sudden she gets nauseous and she finds herself saving this boy. And the whole time, this situation is very strange because nobody's dressed normal, and they're asking her funny questions, and they're speaking in a way that just feels very strange. But she saves this little boy's life, and then she gets nauseous again, and she comes back to her home, and she's like, what the heck just happened? Come to find out, she's traveling through time. And this boy, Rufus, is a white boy, and his parents are plantation owners in the 1800s. 1819. So Dana is a Black woman being shot back through time to the antebellum South. So just, like take a second to ruminate on that for a second. So, and she keeps getting knocked back to this time, and then she finds herself coming back to her time. Time is not progressing in the same way. So when she's in 1819, things are going like months and weeks and days, and whereas in the 70s, it's like 5-10 minutes tops. So time is not in line. It's not going at the same pace. What she comes to discover through knowledge of her own genealogy is that she is descendant of this boy Rufus. So at some point in her lineage, within the past 150 years, this white boy to inherit a plantation with slaves somehow finds himself in a relationship with a black woman, and there begins Dana's lineage. So she comes to discover that she kind of has to go back to this time to save this little boy's life in order for her lineage to continue. And he's starts out as a little boy, and then later on he becomes an adult, and I don't know if it's like a product of circumstances or just, nature nurture or what, but he becomes jackass, for lack of a better term. He becomes a jackass. And so she is constantly grappled with this, I have to save his life, because he gets himself into these situations. It's the 1800s. I mean, those situations pop up anywhere. You could stub your toe and die from an infection. Anyway, so she's grappled with this. I have to save his life, otherwise I could disappear. I could never exist. And also wanting to, just let him go. Just you're on your own. So not only is she dealing with trying to survive 150 years before her time in the antebellum South, in Maryland, pre-Civil War. But then she also has to deal with racial conflict in her own time, because in the 70s it wasn't easy by a long stretch to be an interracial couple. So anyway, it was a fantastic read. There is no doubt that science fiction fantasy has come a long way since the 70s. And so the book has been criticized because the mechanism for the time travel isn't thoroughly explained. That bothers me. Seeing that review, it bothers me, because that wasn't the point. You missed the point if you're bothered by the mechanism not being explained. Nobody showed you the behind the magic curtain, and so you're bothered by that. Anyway, missed the point. It was a really good read. It was interesting. The one thing that I didn't love about it was the ending. It just kind of ended. And it ended kind of strangely. And I won't go into any details, but yeah, it was kind of a strange ending. But it definitely piqued my interest into more of Octavia Butler's works, and highly recommended. The narrator was really pretty excellent. Yeah, pretty excellent. And people were awful. People were awful to other people. Anyway, so, yeah, really great book. So, I was listening to that. I've also been reading The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult, which, as you guys know, is, I've talked about it. It's about, an ex-Nazi soldier who asks the descendant of an Auschwitz survivor to kill him. So, very heavy topics that are entirely too relevant here today. So I needed something light. After I finished Kindred, I needed something light. And so on a whim at some point, I downloaded this audiobook. And I'm not going to talk very long about this, but it is called All He Wants by C.C. Gibbs. And it's romance, and it is BDSM romance. Which is not my flavor. I'm not interested. Without telling you too much. I never read 50 Shades of Grey because it's just whatever. And All He Wants by C.C. Gibbs is also known as Knight's Mistress. It is typical romance trope. Very beautiful, very intelligent, very talented young woman goes to work for super rich, most handsome man in the world. Dream job. Oh no, we shouldn't get involved. Get involved. kind of a thing. What's different about this is it's a series, which boggles my mind. Romance series, I never understand it. I understand romance series when you follow a cast of characters, but not two. This is a trilogy. Anyway, so I listened to it. It was, I think, 10 hours. No, not even. Maybe it was 10 hours. It might have been 10 hours. I don't remember. So it wasn't a very long audiobook. The narrator was great. Her name is Elena Wolf. And yeah, she's a really great narrator. She managed both male and female. There were some steamy moments. I mean, of course, it's adult romance. It was just kind of like a whatever. Like, I have no business reading romance because it's not my genre of choice. I just needed something lighthearted because everything else that I was reading was like, like gut punching. So I listened to it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't think I'll continue with this series, but I think if I need something like that again, I will seek out more of Elena Wolf's narration because she was good. She was really good. So yeah, that's what I've read. And I've started a new audiobook, which is dystopian, so it's going to be another wrenching one, but that's okay. I'll read something lighthearted next. And so yeah. So, have I talked your ear off enough? Are you guys sick of hearing me now? I, once again, have a big editing job ahead of me. And, yeah. So, lots to do yet. But I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support of me and my channel. And, thank you for sticking with me even though I was gone for a while. Thank you to everybody who sent messages like, hey, you okay? I was just fine. Just took some self-care time, shall we say. But that's all I've got for you today. So I hope that you are well. I hope that you are stitching. And I will see you next time. As always, y'all, be kind.